I'm Carrie Ann Tanis, and I have a young lady with Down syndrome. She's 24, and I am a speech and language pathologist, and I work with children in Bethlehem and Jersey and Lehigh Valley. I'm here because I was bullied to kill one of my children. So let's talk about that.
My name is Christy. I'm a mother of 3, soon to be 4 children. 8 months ago is when I first contacted the Pregnancy Resource Center, right after I discovered that I was pregnant. The pregnancy was not planned and it was very unexpected. It was just a few months earlier that I had made the difficult decision to send my other 3 children to temporarily live with their father, who had left me the previous year, until I could get on my feet and better provide for them. So another baby was definitely not in my plans.
As we know, my name is Sharon, and I'm gonna take you a little bit through some of my story. And so here's 21-year-old Sharon, and she's just graduated with her bachelor's degree. And I decided to do an externship following my graduation and in New York City at the church where I grew up. And my job was to sell products, and that's where I met my daughter's father. I was selling nail polish one day and he thought he was real charming and wanted me to paint his nails and do a demo on him. And he was like, "Can you paint my nails, miss?" He was persistent and he was charming and funny, and I was smitten very quickly. And so within a very short time, all of that newness and excitement of meeting a guy who found me interesting wore off, and it was replaced with fear and concern, and he just was not a safe person.
And she's rolling around on the screen, and they're like, okay, yep. And right then and there, they did say she had Downs. The lights went on, I'm still in the stirrups, the genetic counselor comes in, and she said it has Downs, and when can we schedule the abortion? So, okay, yeah, I see how this is gonna get a little teary, because
What's funny is, like, when you're in that sort of situation, I didn't grow up in a home where that should have been my trajectory. I grew up in a godly Christian home. And so I think part of the aspect of the shame of everything was that I somehow got myself in a scenario that I didn't belong in, or that wouldn't have made sense unless I had come from and not known any better, like not known anything else. Because I've talked to women who they just think that this is the kind of life they deserve, which they're wrong, but that's what they believe because that's all they've seen.
And so I looked at her and I said, no, what, huh? There's a little weirdness, a little awkward, okay. And then she said, well, your baby has Downs and it's really the best avenue for you to abort, or I'm sorry, the words were more terminate, let's end, let's manage. Those were the words.
And so there she was. At the time, I didn't know she was a she. I was like not even 4 weeks pregnant. She just looked like a kidney bean with a circle inside. And when we did that ultrasound, the strong thrum of her heartbeat, the amount of fear and shame that I felt when I became pregnant, because now not only am I a pastor's kid, I'm unwed, I'm a single mom, I'm in an abusive relationship. All the thoughts that I had were like, how can I do this? What will my mom think? You know, how can I raise a kid? I can't even work. I can't even, like, I was already so not feeling well. And I was in a low, like, entry-level kind of job. I was like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna go back home and tell my parents that I couldn't even think past that moment.
And she went on, and there was she's gonna have medical problems, a bad life. She's going to be a drain on the system, that was said. And there were a few other things that I could recall as the time this goes on, but that one was interesting about you're ruining your life. And I looked at her, and that's where it struck me, where I said, well, who do you think I am? Because she didn't know me enough to assume that I would have a terrible life with a Down's child, but she did. I finally just said no. It got pressured to the point where I'm getting myself out of the stirrups. I'm getting myself up, I'm getting dressed, I'm moving on. Can I talk to you in my office, she says. No, I'm good, thank you for that, and I'm moving on. And later when you can reflect, then you say, well, wait a second, wow, that was really not a choice. Y'all are pro-choice. There was no choice there. There was no door A and there was no door B. So that was something I did reflect on pretty quickly. Subsequently, we got several phone calls. I know Renee's father got a phone call. I don't know how many. I got a phone call. She wasn't going to let it go.
The news was a shock, but the hardest part was when the father of the baby told me he would have nothing to do with either of us, and the only help he would offer was money for an abortion. I didn't know how to process all of it. I only knew I had to turn to God and allow Him to order my steps. The very first step He directed me to take was to make an appointment with the Pregnancy Resource Center. I've known of the Pregnancy Resource Center for a while now. I have friends who have volunteered there in the past, and have even made donations there before, never expecting that one day I would be in need of their services. Between the Pregnancy Resource Center and Shepherds, I've received much of the help and emotional support that I needed to be able to walk through this process that I wouldn't have had the strength to do on my own. Though I knew that I wouldn't have an abortion, it was the first time I truly understood why some women feel that it is their only option.
And I was just like, this tiny thing needs my protection. And so she was instrumental in getting me to a shelter for battered women. And God really used that time because it was kind of lonely, but it was also peaceful. I called my parents and said, I'd like to come home. And so there was like 8 of us in a house, and there was only unemployment income. And so I got on food stamps and cash assistance, and my mom started calling around for resources. And she had called around and found the Pregnancy Resource Center and Women's Resources. And so I got connected with resources here in the area. And that's how I came to be a client at the Pregnancy Resource Center. What I noticed about the Pregnancy Resource Center and the people that were here was, even when I called, like, the way that they communicate is kind and gentle, and they don't treat you like you're crazy or like you're stupid for getting in this scenario, which is definitely how I felt. I spent time with the counselors here, and I talked through a lot of things. It helped that the people who I was working with were comfortable with me talking about my faith and helping me to reconnect with that. And they also didn't just provide me with mental health resources and connect me with other resources in the area, but they provided me with things. So I didn't pay for anything. I got a free crib, I got free, what is those things called? The saucer with the bouncy saucer, there we go. I got the bouncy saucer, I got clothing, diapers. I didn't pay for any, I paid for nothing for her until she was almost 2. The idea of a detour was a life raft that I hung on to. Like, I'm gonna go a way I didn't intend, but I'm still gonna get in the same trajectory and have the same kind of life that I always imagined for myself. It's just gonna include another little person now. And I remember holding her in my arms, and I just felt so much love. Like, I thought my heart would burst with love for her. And I remember a voice, I know it's the Holy Spirit, and he said to me, "You think that's love? You have no idea how much I love you." One of the main arguments that people give, which is funny because it comes from the same crowd of people that says women can do anything and nothing can stop them. But one of the main arguments that they give is that raising children is expensive, and if you haven't planned for it, that you wouldn't be able to make it. And I always argue that I am living proof, as is my daughter, that there are people who are willing to support women in their effort. And that you can't go a place in this country and not find a group of generous and open and gentle and kind and gracious people who are willing to love on moms, who see babies as babies.
Renee is 24 years old, and she is an adult that could never really survive on her own, even now. Looking back, I see now that really no mom thinks of that at that moment. But you're forcing me to think about something that even a mom just going through a pregnancy and a delivery, they're not thinking about what their 20-year-old is going to be like. They're going through birth. I said, well, what are you going to do? Like, is she going to get her period? Is she going to ever have a boyfriend? Is she ever going to have a normal life? And I think there again, the devil wants to remind me that my baby is worthless. What I have is a 24-year-old best friend. And she and I cuddle and watch movies, and I have a very dear friend. And she loves her family dearly. And it's amazing. Her sister, her brothers, every single night, she names them by name. And okay, what? But she does. She loves her family, and she loves, boy, now just talking it through here, I can see how this fantasy of what children should be is just pure poison. I want to forget that now, but maybe God's like, please remember, because look at what you have. What's interesting is it isn't about me. I'm her mom. It's about she brings our family together. We need to start donating hard money to the pregnancy centers that do provide services. And I think that has been where I feel that I can bless those. What do I own that I can give to people who are braver than me? You have the Bombergers, you have John Speed. I see the Canadian Laura Klassen. The hate that she gets is really tyrannical and serious. But aside from that, what they endure, they're braver than me a little. You, or Alice Marchesani, what can I do to give to that now and then follow their lead? And money does matter, and fundraising does matter.
So here we are, full circle, and I not only have a good career and a good life and a healthy daughter and a safe family and all of those good things, but now I'm able to give back. And so we really are full circle, because I'm able to regularly donate to the Pregnancy Resource Center. And that's why we're here, right? This is why we exist. There's plenty of resources to go around, and there's evidence everywhere you look that people are wanting to help. And women are ready to receive it if someone would just look at them like they matter, like they have value, when they don't think that they do, like with me. And so what we are doing here, it matters. Babies' lives matter, moms matter, and we're taking care of them. And we're doing the things that seem, to some people, they might seem insignificant. Like, it's just a few diapers. To me, those represent joyous moments with my daughter, moments of pride and victory and excitement and peace and comfort and safety. And that's what we're providing here at the Pregnancy Resource Center. We're providing those moments of joy and triumph and peace, even in the midst of adversity, even in the midst of great challenge. And we're telling women we can do it because we're doing it together, because you're not alone.
Being abandoned while pregnant is unfortunately a very common problem that is becoming an even greater problem in our time. So many women feel forced to make choices that they may not really want, but don't know what other options there are, or feel they can't handle the struggles that they're facing alone. Many of these women come from poverty, are homeless, feel overburdened, are afraid, and have suffered a lot of abuse and abandonment trauma, and need the help and support to make the best decision for them and their babies. They need to know that there is hope for them and their children, and to experience God's love being poured into them and get the care that they should have. My circumstances may not be ideal or what I would have chosen, but I'm grateful for what God has been doing through them. He's been teaching me a lot about His faithfulness as a father who doesn't abandon His own even when we run from Him. How He can restore brokenness with new life and work our unplanned circumstances into His plans for our redemption. I'm grateful to have gotten to know every beautiful woman that I've met during this time who has been there to pray and speak life into me, and also all of the women like myself I've been able to learn from and lean on for strength. I'm also very grateful that I now personally understand the significant importance of pregnancy resource centers and the invaluable impact that they have. I believe that what is done through the Pregnancy Resource Center and every place that helps expecting mothers in need is some of the most important and needed work for God's kingdom. These are resources that God uses to save and restore lives, both physically and spiritually. Everyone who contributes is part of an answered prayer and the reason why so many babies will get to live and why many women will know that they have a purpose for living too.